home, they're finally in their wonderful refuge where they have no more concerns, where they're at peace, where they know their kids can go in the yard or in the front driveway and play street hockey, where they know that the local parks are safe and free from needles and danger. And they know that when they come out in the morning, the car will still be there. The glass will not be broken, that no one will have invaded their home and threatened their lives. But after 6 years of liberal crime laws, that is the exact opposite of the experience we are living with today. Violent crime is raging out of control. We saw the most recent tragic example of that just in the last few days in Saint Jerome in Quebec, where a man who had 30 prior convictions and had violated his bail provisions 16 times is now standing accused of murdering his girlfriend, a man who should have been behind bars, and if he had been, this tragedy would not have occurred. Of course, he wasn't, because under liberal law C-75, judges are required to release the accused at the, quote, earliest opportunity under the, quote, least restrictive conditions. We see the case of Shakir Badi, an Ajax man arrested in connection with a violent home invasion and the kidnapping of a 54-year-old man that left a 55-year-old man seriously injured. Mr. Badi was released on bail despite having been charged with attempted murder, conspiracy of committing murder, robbery with a firearm, disguised with an intent, possession of a restricted firearm, knowingly not holding a license, possession of prohibited devices, and possession of property obtained of crime over a $5,000 limit. At the time of his arrest, Masih Mohammed was himself out on bail for unrelated offenses. This was one of just a series of violent crimes perpetrated against innocent Canadians. After being convicted of assault and uttering threats, James Plover was released while awaiting sentence. 3 hours later, he brutally murdered Bailey McCourt, his ex-wife, in a parking lot just 4 kilometers away from the courthouse. If he had been kept behind bars where he belonged, that beautiful woman would be alive today. But thanks to liberal bail laws that required him be released, she is not with us anymore. Because of liberal bail, extortion is up 330%. Because of liberal bail, sexual assaults are up 76%. Because of liberal bail, violent crime is up 55%. And because of liberal bail, homicides are up 29%. Because of liberal bail, Canadians are no longer safe. So Mark Carney, knowing that Canadians were terrified and frustrated by the crime wave his party had caused, pulled a bait and switch in the last election. He promised Liberals would flip-flop on bail, that if re-elected, after 10 years, they would have learned their lesson. And he said, we will act decisively to strengthen the criminal code. Decisively. Here we are, 6 months later, and where is this decisive action to reverse liberal bail? He said we will move aggressively to protect victims by making bail laws stricter for violent and organized crime. Well, tell that to the victims of crime. Tell that to the family of Bailey McCourt, who lost her life to someone out on liberal bail. Then he appointed the single worst Trudeau minister, Sean Fraser, the guy who destroyed our immigration system, the guy who destroyed our housing market, and now his reward is he gets to be the justice minister responsible for the crime laws. It is no wonder that crime and chaos are out of control when Mr. Fraser and then, of course, Gary Ananasangri, a man who has been caught on tape admitting that he's implementing gun laws that won't work, that make no sense, and that will ultimately cost $750 million, all to win votes rather than save lives. These are the Liberals that Mark Carney puts in charge. You know, we're not asking for Mark Carney to be a hero. You know what we're asking him to do? Get out of the way. Get out of the way, Mark Carney. You are the only thing stopping Canadians from having strong bail laws that will keep them safe. And the media has wrongly said that what we need is bail reform. We have bail reform. It's called C-75. We have bail reform. Bail reform by Liberals that allows repeat offenders out of jail again and again and again. What we need to do is scrap Liberal bail. Scrap Liberal bail to keep violent offenders behind bars. Scrap Liberal bail to lock up sex offenders. Scrap Liberal bail to bring safety and tranquility to our streets. And that is why the great RPAN Canada has introduced Bill C-242, the Jail Not Bail Act, to end the Liberal crime wave, undoing all the broken Liberal laws and getting the criminals behind bars. This policy has been endorsed by the Toronto Police Association, various community advocates, Debbie Henderson, the spokesman for the Bailey family, for Bailey McCourt's family. Today, Conservatives will introduce a motion in the House of Commons that would push the rapid adoption of RPAN Canada's Jail Not Bail Act. Again, we don't need the Liberals to do anything. We just need them to get out of the way. If they will abstain on this vote and agree to let this bill pass, we can scrap Liberal bail. They've had 6 months since the last election. Mark Carney promised he would reverse Liberal bail laws, and here we are a half a year later, and those laws are still in place, and they haven't even introduced a bill. What is taking so long? Seriously. While people are dying on our streets, where our citizens are being massacred, while women are being killed by abusive ex-husbands, Mark Carney has spent 6 months spinning in circles, leaving Liberal laws in place. And he is personally responsible for the violence on our streets because it is him that is standing in the way of us fixing the problem. So we ask Liberals to get out of the way and let us scrap Liberal bail. Let us also scrap the house arrest law, CC5. We have a bill from Pierre Paulus, our member from Quebec City, to get criminals in jail, not in house arrest. The Stand on Guard law will be coming soon from Conservatives that will allow people to protect themselves in their own homes against violent intruders. The Protection Against Extortion Act, another Conservative bill that Liberals are blocking, which would lock up the extortionists that are terrorizing Surrey, Brampton, and Northeast Calgary, and the Three Strikes You're Out law that would guarantee that anyone convicted of 3 violent offenses will have a mandatory 10 years in prison with no parole, probation, bail, or house arrest. These are real common sense actions that Conservatives are proposing and Liberals are blocking. Again, our message is we ask only one thing of Mark Carney and the Liberals. Please get out of the way. We are ready to protect Canadians and restore safe streets for our country. Let's again make this a country where everybody feels safe, where when your head hits the pillow at night, you know that you'll wake up safely with your car in your driveway, that your kids will be safe at school, in their parks, and outside, where women no longer have to fear violent ex-husbands and other abusers, where all Canadians feel safe in this wonderful country under our proud flag. Thank you very much.
We will now open the floor to questions. Please identify yourself and your outlet.
Ryan Delpy, Toronto Star. Mr. Poilievre, do you support the Liberals